The following podcast contains spoilers for Shoplifters. You have been warned!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glen Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusto. I always forget which way it is. This is so new to me now.
I am to your right, I believe.
Yep.
And you're to my left. Yes.
It's amazing.
It is.
How directions work. They made a compass for that. It's kind of crazy.
They did. Not for left and right, though.
I wish they did. Oh, wait. Figured it out. Got it. Whew.
How you doing, Glenn?
We turned the fans, we turned the AC off. It was good. Now it's way hotter than I expected it to be without the fans.
Already, huh?
It's immediately. I only have a fan up I'm pretty much in the attic of the house, or the den, I guess you would call it. And as people know, if they followed any science, hot air rises.
Yes.
So it's not nearly as bad as the last house. I think I complained to you multiple times on how hot it is there, but it's not nearly as bad as that. But it is a little toasty. Anyway, my friend, other than the fact that I'm living in a homemade sauna of my own sweat, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I got sunburnt yesterday, so
Whoa.
some people you can kind of tell I'm a little red.
Okay.
Not too bad. My arms are worse, but they're still not that bad.
Yeah.
But if people are wondering why I'm a little more red, that is why. And of course, my neighbors, being the lovely people that they are setting off fireworks right now when my baby child is trying to sleep. So that's the thing. Luckily, they haven't woken him up yet. So
just that time of year, you know.
It is, unfortunately. I hate fireworks. I think they're stupid. Unless they're synced to music, which they never are unless you're at Disney. So
I like fireworks. I just usually never go out of my way to see them.
You seen one firework, you seen them all.
That's pretty much. I got invited to one or two events, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm all right.
You seen a Disney fireworks show? Anything else is just stupid. and I'm not even like a huge Disney person, but they put on a great fireworks show.
They do.
And I just cannot enjoy normal fireworks anymore. I guess you could call that privilege, because it kind of is.
Yeah.
I'm just over it. And also, you have to be around people, and I don't like that. But, Glenn.
Yep.
We've gone off track already.
A little bit.
First, a couple weeks ago, we talked about how much I hate hedges. Now we're talking about how much I hate fireworks. But this isn't a hedges or a fireworks
You were a very
podcast.
vocal man on what you dis and dislike.
Yes.
Dis and dislike.
Dis
yes,
and
I
dislike.
did say that.
What movies did you watch this week?
Oh, strap on or strap in, whatever you feel like doing. However you swing. I'm not into... anyway, I saw some movies, believe it or not.
Strap in.
I'll strap on. Anyway, I'm into some movies now. Strap into some movies. First, we saw a little movie, or we were going to see a little movie, but I wanted to prep for it. I wanted to get ready. I wanted to know how it led to this moment of a movie. So it all started with Raiders of the Lost Ark. I rewatched that. I kind of wanted to just refresh my memory, and I really wanted to try to knock out the trilogy before we saw the newest Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. I'm a fucking piece of shit. And I didn't even make it through Lost Ark, but I had watched it already, so it wasn't that bad.
Okay. I thought you fell asleep during Temple of Doom, not Lost Ark.
No, I didn't get to finish Temple of Doom. But Lost Ark is great. I love Marion with all my heart. Harrison Ford's a badass in life and in movies. Son of a bitch is so goddamn handsome. I wish he'd give a little out. The handsomeness, not... Anyway, Temple of Doom was really good. And for what I saw, I honestly think it is much better than Lost Ark. And I didn't quite get to...
Okay.
From what I saw, I only saw half of a movie, so I can't actually say that. Definitely Short Round makes it. The only thing, I think what holds it back, I think Short Round makes it, but Willie's character is so... It's not the actress's fault, but she's so aggravating and not a good combo. She wasn't one of the good, Jones girls. I'd like to say Bonds girls, but, this is kind of swinging it to the Jones girls. She wasn't the better of, obviously, the two. Marion was fucking pitch perfect right from the get-go. Yeah. And then, we watched, obviously, Dial of Destiny on Thursday, but we can't say anything about it because there's a review and you got to watch it. After that, I made some very bold claims, and I decided I'm going to try to refresh my mind. So I also watched Crystal Skull. I still feel how I felt about that, and I'm not going to go that much further. It is super bad. Like, cheesy as fuck. But I feel like there was beats in the movie that made it feel like a more grounded Jones movie than I remember it being.
I'm inserting Tim Robinson dressed as a hot dog shouting wrong right now, just so you know.
Wrong! After that, I kind of started watching the season 2 of The Bear, which is something that it came out a couple of weeks ago, I believe, either that or last month. So I started that up. I got to episode 6 last night over the weekend, and I texted you. I have not seen anybody talk about season 2 yet, but episode 6 is fucking crazy. It is bonkers. Anybody who watches the show, you're either going to make it or you're going to break, because it is a very anxiety-inducing show on basically how the kitchen staff, how it feels to be in a kitchen staff. Sometimes, obviously, it's a little, played hard because, it's a TV show.
Where on a scale of 1 to Darren Aronofsky's Mother is it?
It's fucking up there, dude.
Up there? Does it reach mother status?
Yeah, I would think so. For you, I think it would gets your loins flowing, shall I say? And you're gonna be pleasantly surprised by some people who show up. So
I know Will Poulter's in it.
Yeah, actually, that's not who I'm talking about though. So that's cool.
Okay,
I'm
that's
glad
good.
Everything else wasn't hit for you. Episode 6 is fucking crazy, and I'm gonna start the other 4 episodes either tonight or tomorrow. I haven't quite decided yet, but it's great show so far. The first season's honestly, it's damn near perfect. This season's it's not quite there, but it's kind of setting up some stuff, so I get it. And then of course I watched Shoplifters, which we shall get into after Mike talks about all the silly things he watched with his retinas.
Yes. I watched 7 movies, getting back into the swing of things.
Oh, yeah,
have been the past month or so. First thing I watched was Paranormal Activity. First time I watched that. It's the reason I watched it. Yeah. Well, so it came out when I was a projectionist, and it was like the height of my projectionist shifts. Like, I was a manager who also was a projectionist, so I spent like 50-50 on the floor. This came out when I was I had like 4 weeks where all I did was projection on my shifts, which I loved. So much better than dealing with customers.
Oh, yeah.
So I essentially saw the entire thing just spread out and out of order. So this was the first time I actually watched it as it was meant to be watched, but I had seen everything in it. And so like I rated it. When it came out, admittedly this was partially me trying to be like contrarian. When it first came out, I was like, man, this is awful, blah, blah, blah. But I also hadn't seen it as it was meant to be seen.
Of course.
I was just going off of like the different snippets I had seen, which were bad. And everyone was saying how great it was. And then I watched it and I felt vindicated because it's a pile of garbage. It's on the 1001 movies list, mainly for the cultural impact. I can't deny the cultural impact of Paranormal Activity.
The cultural impact was crazy.
But it is a garbage movie. It is bad. They have no chemistry at all. Not once did they try to sleep with the door closed or switch sides of the bed so Katie would feel more secure. Not once.
Well, Katie's very stubborn. As a character, as a whole, she was a very stubborn woman throughout all of the movies. I mean,
he was a piece of shit. He was a hot piece of shit.
It was Micah, right?
Mika or Micah, something like that. It was spelled Micah, but I feel like they pronounced it weird.
Yeah,
because I mean it's the actor's real name, so I don't want to crap on him.
Micah's a character from Red Dead 2, but it's Mika for sure. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but like they could have just easily fixed that situation by him going, "Hey, do you want to switch sides of the bed since things keep happening?" And she go, "No, it's okay." There, problem solved.
Yeah.
But the entire time I'm just like, just switch sides of the bed. Just do it. Shut the door.
I both acknowledge that Paranormal Activity is not a good movie, but it was a lot of fun on first release, first watch, and still, to me, it holds up. There's one of the other movies, one of the sequels, is technically like a prequel to the first one. Mm-hmm. I honestly thought that was one of the best of obviously the series. So
yeah, I haven't seen any of them. Mm-hmm. The only one I had seen like a good chunk of was this one because I was a projectionist. All the other ones came out when I was no longer a projectionist. I could see this being a fun crowd film to go see. Seeing it by yourself, it's a piece of garbage. Yeah. I think going to see it with a crowd, I would still think it was a piece of garbage, but would probably enjoy the crowd reactions to it.
Oh yeah, the crowd reaction, and then especially back when that came out, what was that, 2010?
2007.
Holy shit.
It was made in 2007, but I was a projectionist 2008, and that's when it came out.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Being that age, I was, fucking 15? So we were in that teenage crowd where we're like, oh, we thought it was all real. It was basically like the Blair Witch. Everybody thought it was fucking real.
Well, I mean, I knew it was fake from the get-go because ghosts don't fucking exist. Mm-hmm. And
don't tell my mom that.
And another thing, granted, I watch a lot of ghost shows. I don't think ghosts exist, but I find ghost hunting fascinating.
The concept of it's super interesting.
The concept's super interesting, and just to see these people who I firmly believe in ghosts. I don't think they're like trying to make a show just to screw people over. To see the leaps they take to try to justify their beliefs is fascinating to me. I couldn't tell you why. But just like, oh, this thing happened. This wasn't a breeze. This isn't dust. This is an orb.
Their outfits are usually spot on, too.
Like Ghost Adventures is my favorite. They're goofy as fuck. They seem like fun guys, too. Like, I would love to go on their show and just be like, yeah, I don't believe in ghosts. Send me in there, Captain.
My dad used to watch, there's like 4 or 5 shows that he used to watch back to back. There was MXC, which was on Spike or one of those. There was CSI before like the Miami and all that spinoffs. It was just straight up CSI. And then that one for sure, Ghost Adventures. And then he was a history buff. But like I'd always get all of those all the time. Ghost Adventures was one of them.
I still watch Ghost Adventures because they're putting on a show. Like I feel like I think they believe in ghosts, but they think they definitely exaggerate how scared they are all the time.
Television, you gotta bump the ratings a little.
Ghosts aren't real, paranormal activity shit, but I can understand the cultural impact and how people enjoyed watching it as a crowd. Then I watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the last of the original trilogy of Indiana Jones. My favorite growing up, I think I like Raiders more now. But I love the father-son dynamic in Last Crusade. I think it's something that's overlooked. Compared to Temple of Doom, I think it brings back some of the wholesomeness of Raiders of the Lost Ark that was lost in Temple of Doom. Not that I like Temple of Doom, but I get everyone's gripe with it. It's just it's way too intense for Indiana Jones, which is supposed to be a family movie. Originally, it was supposed to be a family movie, at least.
Yeah, I think the reason why I think the dynamic between Short Round and Indy was just so good that it feels like a better movie.
Yeah, I forget where I read it, but someone said that Short Round is legitimately the only person in any of the movies that Indiana Jones liked, and that's 100% true. He's always looking out for Short Round. Like he might talk back to him and everything, but it's different. It's not like an anger thing. It's like
it's like his own kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But not shy.
Yeah, I like all of them except for Crystal Skull. You'll have to find out if I like the Dial of Destiny in our review. Yeah. Which I watched that after I watched The Last Crusade.
Did you?
So check that out on the YouTubes. Then my Ingmar Bergman collection. I took a couple weeks off from Ingmar Bergman because he is a heavy director to watch.
Oh yeah.
And I watched his adaptation of Mozart's The Magic Flute, which is like an opera from the 1700s. Mm-hmm. It was fine. I'm not really that big into like... I like opera music separately, but I don't like watching opera music on stage because it's too long and boring. Like the theme, but I love the music. I just don't like watching it. I like listening to it and relaxing, but watching it is like a chore for me personally. But yeah, Magic Flute, it was okay. I've liked a lot of his other stuff more. Then I rewatched Asteroid City because I just wanted to rewatch it because I love it so much. Or do I? You have to check out YouTube to see if I do. But yeah, I liked it a lot more this time. Like, we both liked it a lot the first time we watched it, but when I watched this, I started picking up on like themes and you know, analyzing it more. And it's like it's a more brilliant movie than I had initially thought.
That's all of his movies too. Like,
the more you watch
see
them,
so much more when you're looking for other things.
Exactly. Or you like you hear a line that seems like a throwaway line in the beginning, but when you know the ending, it's actually setting up the ending. Yeah. Which I thought there's a lot of that in this, and it's just beautiful.
Or you're not distracted by old men and smelly feet.
Yes, that too. There's no old men and smelly feet behind me this time.
Thank the Lord.
So, yes. Then I watched Shoplifters, which we're going to get into in just a minute, and then I watched a movie called Timbuktu, which was nominated for Best International Film in 2015, I want to say. It did not win, but it was nominated. And I had been wanting to watch it pretty much since it was nominated. It's essentially, it's like I think it's a city in Mali. Well, the real Timbuktu is a city in Mali, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a fake Timbuktu or if it is supposed to be the city in Mali. I don't know enough about Timbuktu to know for sure if this is happening in Timbuktu. But essentially, this city is being policed by Al-Qaeda or some Islamic extremist group. I don't know if it is specifically Al-Qaeda, but it just follows all the different characters who... The thing I like most about it is that it shows that most Islamic people are pretty chill and relaxed and just like life like the rest of us. They just believe different things than people. And then they're being oppressed by these extremists, much like Americans are starting to become by Christian extremists. Yeah, I went there. And yes. And so it was just interesting to see how, like, the different reactions and how obviously, which if you have to be a fucking dumbass to think that every Islamic person believes in these extreme beliefs. Yeah. To see like how they reacted to it. And it's just, you know, it's a really fascinating movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I highly suggest people watch Timbuktu. Good. But that's all I watched this week. If we didn't talk about Paranormal Activity for 5 minutes, it would be really outside. That's for sure. But let's get into Shoplifters. Hey.
What happened? ママは
それ食べさせたら返してきなよ。
今日外寒いんだよな。
キャキャだね。
ねえ、誘拐である。どう見ても。
めっちゃ可愛いじゃん。選ばれたんかな、私たち。
ユリが映ってる。子供にはね、母親が必要なんですよ。
産んだらみんな母親になるの？
On the margins of Tokyo, a dysfunctional band of outsiders are united by loyalty, a penchant for petty theft, and playful grifting. First time I stumbled in a
Glenn,
while.
Are you okay?
When the young son is arrested, secrets are exposed that upend their tenuous, below-the-radar existence. Written and directed by Kore-eda Hirokazu, starring Lily Frankie, Sakura Ando, Kirin Kiki, and Mayu Matsuoka. And this, of course, is a Japanese language film, unless you're Glenn.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. And it came out in 2018, was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film or International. I forget when they changed it to the being called International. But which I believe we found out last week off the air that it lost to Roma. Is that correct?
I think it was Roma, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you're going to lose to one, there you go.
You're going to lose to Roma.
Yeah.
Like any other year, this might have won, but since it was up against Roma, it kind of stood no chance, unfortunately. But yeah, this was on my long list, of course. Glenn picked the number. The math ended up landing on one that I didn't want to do because I just talked about it in a TikTok.
Yeah.
And wanted some separation before we do that one. And then the second one landed on this one. So, Glenn, I had seen this before. I watched it at legitimately the best day of movie watching I have ever had.
Lucky bastard.
I went to Philly, saw 5 movies. All 5 were fantastic. You know, when you watch 5 movies, sometimes they're going to be bad. But every single one was like a 4 to a 5-star movie for me. And I've yet to match that.
One day, brother. One day.
Yes. So I was really excited to see what you thought of this. Other than the Spanish language that for some reason HBO Max made you watch.
Made me watch. So
what did you think?
Look into my eyes. Get closer. Get lovely. Let's cuddle. So HBO, normally I watch the movie on the day of because my brain's small and can't remember things for too long. So I watch them on the day of. Little did I know that there was 2 languages on the HBO. One was the original Japanese language, and then the other was Spanish. Now, however, when you go and watch the movie, you only are able to listen to Spanish. I didn't know that. Everybody in the world should know that. Because, actually, no, they shouldn't. That's a lie, because HBO lies. When they say 2 languages, they only give you one. Lo and behold. So I had to sit there and listen to Spanish the Japanese people of sorts speak Spanish the whole time. I wasn't mad, because I'll tell you what, the Spanish dubbing was actually really good.
Oh, that's good.
I was surprised. But obviously, the biggest thing that throws you off is if you just want to have like a multiverse moment where you're like, what happens if Japanese people speak Spanish? And then you're like, oh, that's how it is. Yeah. And you're an English speaking person, so you're like, what the fuck is happening?
It probably matches up with mouth movements a lot better than like English dubbing does.
There's moments. Well, yeah, for sure that. There's moments where obviously it doesn't sync up, where like they're counting or something like that. But the Spanish dub, I'll try to get this out of the way really fast because I don't want to talk about it the whole time. The Spanish dub was really good. It was just, really sad that I didn't get to listen to the Japanese speaking, which is just sad because I didn't get to actually hear their vocal performances themselves.
That's the biggest tragedy of this.
Which takes it away for sure. But to counter that, the Spanish one was actually really good too. So I don't know how much I lost there from the original actors themselves, but also, credit to them because it was actually really good. Yeah. So this movie had been on my list for a little bit. I think probably since around 2019. I thought it was on Hulu. I'm pretty sure it moved eventually.
It was for some point or some time.
Yeah, it was on Hulu for a while, and then I never got around to it. I knew it was a great movie from lots of people. I never have time. I can only watch 2 movies a week, people. Leave me alone. I gotta meet a quota. But yeah, this movie, man, lots to talk about here.
Yeah.
Man, it's refreshing, shall I say. Because throughout the movie, it's a big topic. It's kind of a big family kind of oriented movie. But the point of view, I feel like the viewer gets is kind of the kids in this movie. The movie withholds information from you, just like the kids are getting too. And you're like, man, you know the circumstances of what's happening, but this is like a really wholesome fucking little group of people. This is all like, oh my God. And obviously there's some shit you don't know that, is not good. but you're like, damn, these people work, they mesh so well. Let them be a family. Let them be a silly little geese, little parade, and go swimming in a little pond. Let them all fly away together. Let them do some things. And I really enjoyed the fact that you only kind of get a kid's point of view on the whole aspect, and you're withheld information until the very end, and you're just growing as like a family and just kind of shoplifting, really. Just hanging out and shoplifting. Yeah. Very awesome. I'll let you speak a little bit, because that was a lot for me.
No, I 100% agree. I think the family dynamic is the best part of this. Mm-hmm. The director, we've seen one of his movies earlier this year, Broker, the Korean language movie with the guy from Parasite whose name is escaping me and I feel horrible. Song Kang-ho.
Yes.
He does family dynamics so well. Like because that Broker is also a movie where like they're not really family, but they feel like a family.
Yeah.
And just like you said, because you're from like the kid's perspective in a way, you just assume until piece by piece it's revealed that they're not blood related. You assume they are blood related. Mm-hmm. At least like obviously not the little girl that
not the little girl. Yeah.
That they I don't like using the word kidnap. They save. Like, yes, technically it's kidnapping.
It was definitely kidnapping.
But she had a better life with them than she did her parents.
Significantly.
So you just feel like they're this family, and then like
she was at least loved. I don't know if she definitely had a better. Well, I don't know.
And piece by piece, you're like, you're kind of like shocked because they're not blood related. Their son, they picked up in a car, and like the mom and dad figures who were Osamu and Nobuyo, they, while romantically involved at some point, seemed like they weren't anymore. And then obviously they kind of grew back together in a way. It was just an interesting dynamic. And even with like the older daughter type character who was Aki and grandma, you thought that
I felt like she was younger.
Aki,
yeah,
the one that was at like she was at the fetish bar.
Yeah,
she had to have been at least 18, I'm assuming. So she was older.
I was assuming, or for me, the little dynamic was, and this was confusing for me. I mean, it's more confusing down the storyline. Mm-hmm. But to me, it felt like it was grandmom, obviously, and then I assumed that it was Nobuyo. I don't know how to say that Japanese.
Me neither.
So sorry. It felt like the bloodline was grandma, Nobuyo, and then Aki, as far as linear sisterhood of the traveling pants went.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Aki was the young. She was older. Like she seemed like she was one of the kids,
my brain
but
got
older.
Confused, and I thought you were saying she was older than Nobuyo.
No, she was older than Shota and Yuri. Or
Glen,
or
listen
Lynn.
Listen.
Yes.
Dumbass, man.
Because, like, you're right. I see what you're saying, where it did feel like she was kind of Nobuyo's sister.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt like she, because I don't know. It felt like she was
sibling.
An older sibling.
Yes.
Yeah. And, like, to me, personally, her and grandma seem like the last one where they consistently talk about like, she keeps calling her grandma and everything. Mm-hmm. And so it feels like maybe they're blood related. And then you find out that while the grandma's husband is blood related to Aki, she's not. Her husband cheated on her, and she's been like getting money and all that. But like the family dynamic they create is so beautiful. It's better than a lot of families that I know personally. And it's just, it makes the ending of the movie so shattering. Obviously in 2018 when this came out, I was not a father yet. And I still teared up then. I was a fucking mess when I watched it this time around. I was like,
oh my God. I don't even have a child, but I fucking will tell you, I will protect Yuri at all fucking costs.
Absolutely. I love the way little kids run. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could tell they're going as fast as they can, but they're not going fast at all.
They're moving in slow-mo. They're stuck.
But the
Also, speaking of the kids, they were fantastic in this movie.
They were.
It never
both
felt,
Shota and Yuri.
It never felt like they were acting. Like they were straight up. It felt like they were in it.
Yeah, but one of the most heartbreaking scenes. It's also a very beautiful scene. Is one of the. It's an earlier scene, like maybe like the second or third week Yuri is with them. Maybe even later. The timeline in this is all hard to catch because like it's winter,
jumps,
it's summer, it's winter.
Yeah,
it's
it jumps from season to season.
But when they're burning her old clothes, I think it was 2 months.
This
2
was
months
2 months after. Yeah.
So 2 months after they saved her, and you find out that she's been discovered as missing, but her parents didn't report her as missing. Her biological parents, pieces of shit. But and so the mom Nobuyo is like looking at the Yuri scars and says, "If they told you that this is what love is, they're wrong." And then she hugs her and she said, "This is what love feels like."
Yep.
Nobuyo, you're gonna.
And then Yuri's
you're
just
making it
casually
rain on my face.
She's just like sensually touching her face. She's like,
Yeah. Oh my. I gotta say, when kids touch your face, I don't know what it is. It is like the greatest thing in the world. It's just like it sounds really corny.
No, I mean especially when like my nephew was like younger, where I could like hold him like in my arms, trying to put him to sleep, and he would just like, I mean, granted, he was probably playing with my sexy ass beard, but he would like just go like this and touch my face, just feeling my hairs on my face, and it was that's just so sweet.
Yeah, and the thing I love, because this could so easily, I mean, obviously with this director it probably wouldn't have, but this could have so easily gone like a really dark route.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was really important to show that they were trying to do the right thing by taking her home again in the beginning, and then when they go and you hear them, the biological parents like throwing shit and breaking shit.
Yep.
And you could just see on the mom's face she realizes that they can't leave that girl there.
Yeah.
Especially because the parents lock her out on the porch like she's an animal, which is rude to do even with an animal, in my opinion. In the cold, like in the summer, it's one
winter.
thing.
They had the Asumu and Shota were just constantly talking about how cold it was outside right before they saw Yuri just chilling outside. So like, fuck that parent.
Yeah. And so that scene where like she just kind of like falls. I don't think she falls to her knees, but she falls to like hug Yuri, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, or she squats down or something. It's not like a dramatic fall to the knees. It's just like oh shit, we can't leave her here. Yeah. That was such a powerful scene when she realizes that, and then they from then on they become like this family where like she's like I'm your mom now. This is
without saying that.
She never says it, but she's like. To the way she acts, she goes from like, "Oh, we got to take her back," like she's a dog or whatever.
Now, Asimo, he would constantly say it.
Yeah,
like, I'm dad.
Yeah,
look at me, I'm dad.
Yeah,
or El Papa, El Papa. That's what I got on my end. El Papa, El Papa.
Kind of wish I watched it in Spanish now.
It was,
the reason I didn't watch it in Spanish
good.
For the people, I have the Blu-ray, so I obviously didn't have that problem. But yeah, I love that after that they show like the day-to-day, so they're not just thieves. They do try to make money, but they do petty theft of like small items to try to pinch pennies. So it shows that like they're not against being active members of society. It's just people don't get paid that much, especially when you get injured on the job. It's
75% bonding, and then maybe like 15% actual stealing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know what the last, I don't even remember what fucking the 75 plus 15 is. 10%, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will. Understand that reference, you silly goose. Anyway, but it fuck, this movie's so good, man. Tugs on some heartstrings.
It does.
The one, obviously you feel really bad for the kids because they didn't choose to get put in this situation.
Yeah.
But the one character, obviously besides those two, I felt super bad for was Aki. Because was she in on the... She wasn't in on the whole scheme. She didn't know what the fuck was going on, right? But she knew, obviously, that the grandmother wasn't her grandmother.
She knew... Well, no, she didn't. Or she didn't know that the grandma knew who her family was.
Oh.
I think that's what it was. And the reason we're having... Like, it makes sense. It's just when you're reading subtitles and they're throwing that much information at you, it's hard to retain it all.
On who's actually blood and not.
So she knew that she wasn't her biological grandmother, but I could be wrong about that. I'm fairly sure that's what it is. But she also didn't know that her grandma knew who her family was and was taking money from her family.
Yeah. Because she was... When all of it went down in the end, she was distraught.
Yeah.
And you could tell she didn't know what the fuck she was going to do. Yeah, Asamu and Nobuyu, they got what they were... They probably should have gotten way worse, but they got what was coming to them. But Aki just felt like she was in that middle where everything just fell around her. The whole house just plummeted, and she's just standing in the middle. Yeah. I felt super bad for her.
Yeah, well, that brings me to my next point. Like, it's a beautiful movie, and it's touching, and it's happy, and it's feel good until the ending. The ending is so bleak in the best way. Like, it's a very realistic ending of what would actually happen in this situation. It's not like in Japan, because in the United States they would never let a kid... I don't know if he ran away or if they actually let him go see Osamu.
I think he ran away.
Okay, that would potentially happen, but like they made it sound like it was just like a little thing, and they would...
It's a little confusing because Osamu does say, "Tell them I made you stay the night." So maybe they knew. I don't know.
Who knows? It doesn't need to go. It doesn't need to expound on that. It doesn't need to have that information. Especially when you're not from Japan, you could just be like, "Oh, it's probably just a Japanese thing. Who knows?"
Yeah.
And that's all you really need. But like, just to see how, for lack of a better word, worse the kids' lives are. All their lives are after the police intervene. First of all, fuck the police for how they were trying to turn everyone against each other, and that, like,
that's just police work.
Well, yeah, I just hate that though, because it's like they are taking information and then spinning it to become a blatant lie. Well, yes, it's technically true. It's not the heart of the fact that is there.
Because we were there with them, understanding everything. So when they're getting interrogated, they're trying to get it on how they would see that it makes sense.
Yeah,
for them.
Obviously, I don't really think the police are bad people for doing that. They're doing what they think is
no, this factual. Is our family now. Fuck those cops, dude.
Hey, you didn't see those two people have sex with the cold noodles.
Yeah,
they left the cold noodles on the table, and that's all I could focus on, is that the cold noodles were on the table and just dripping onto the floor, and that's the noodles. You got to save the noodles.
She got some noodles too. That's.
I set you up for that one.
Yes, you did.
But like when he puts Shota on the bus and chases after him, and then Shota finally calls him dad, and then they cut from that straight to Yuri back on the porch, the closed-in porch, and no one paying attention. It's just so heartbreaking. Like, I wanted to buy it, even though these are fictional characters, I wanted to buy a plane ticket to Tokyo, find this porch, and save Yuri myself.
The whole movie, you just want to hug Yuri.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Shota obviously doesn't deserve it, but like, Yuri is still at an age where she does not understand.
Yeah.
And probably has no concept of doing anything wrong because she doesn't know what wrong is.
Well, she's finally getting a loving family. She's ready
and then
to risk it all.
And then, like, to have the government take that away from you because it's quote unquote the right thing to do, and put you back. And I loved how they showed that the first of all, in the U.S., if the parents didn't report her missing for 2 months, I feel like they wouldn't return the kid back to her.
Well, yeah, 100%.
obviously Japan's a different country. In the U.S., I don't think that would fly. When the fact that they showed them lying, saying that she was asleep, and then they cut to her listening in on the inside of the door, I thought that was brilliant to show that, like, well, brilliant for the movie, heartbreaking for the film, where it's just like nothing has changed with these parents. They're gonna just lie to make themselves look good and still continue to neglect her. And it's just
Well, it's also
I would fight dictators to save you.
I was not prepared for you to say taters.
I would fight dicks to save you.
Dick all day. The one thing, like, you notice after everybody gets caught and they're doing all the interrogations, they're doing an interview with Yuri's biological mother, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well, how is Yuri doing? Oh, she's doing great. She fell fast asleep. Oh, what did she have for dinner last night?" And then the mom's like, her favorite. What is it, omelet and rice or something like that?
Yeah, when we know her favorite's gluten cake.
We know it's gluten cake.
It's gluten cake, bitch.
That bitch is a liar.
Cut back to me saying I don't like calling people bitch last week. I'm a hypocrite, apparently.
Hey. But you're just tug along on this great little family. Well,
Yeah.
It's not great as far as aspects of living go, but just great family
They made a
dynamic.
life with what they had, and that's more than a lot of people do, honestly.
yeah.
A lot of people take their poverty and their squalor and turn to abuse because of it. These people were like, "Hey, we got to work together to make the best out of this situation,
and
and love each other."
You know during the whole movie you're setting up for a not happy ending.
Yeah.
And I knew that the whole time. And honestly, I would have loved a just straight up limited series where it's episodic and just happy family moments with these guys and them just living, because I would have been on board all day.
90s sitcom style.
Yeah. Because it was just great. You wanted to be there for every moment. And then it finally starts to trickle down on what's going on. Even though you know it's coming, you're like, don't do it, Shota. Don't.
Don't jump off with those tangerines. Just give them back. You'll probably be fine.
And it just, once it happens, it's all heartbreak and trickle of the tears. You're like, oh, damn it, I wanted more. I wanted more time. But as a whole, holy shit, man. What a good fucking movie. And really strong competition for Roma, if I've got to say.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up what they were up against, because I remember that year being like a really good year for international films.
Yeah.
And while I think Roma artistically is the better movie, I liked this a lot more. And while I knew it wasn't going to win, I was like, I was rooting for this the entire time.
Yeah.
Let's see, where are you at? This was up. Oh my God. What? So I've seen 4 of the 5 that were nominated.
Yeah.
Roma obviously won. There was Shoplifters, a Polish film called Cold War, which is good, but it's a romance, so we know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you do feel ways.
Yeah. Never Look Away, which I haven't seen, and then Capernaum, which is a movie. This was such a good year for foreign films. Capernaum is a Lebanese movie, I believe it is. From Lebanon. Lebanese movie about a kid who sues his parents for giving birth to him without their consent.
Wish we could all do that.
Yeah. Granted, no one would be able to have kids.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need. People stop
Maybe
having
that
kids.
is
How
what
dare
we need,
you?
actually.
How dare I have kids?
Damn it.
No, but it's that is also on my big list of movies, and hopefully we'll watch it eventually. But yeah, so that was a great year for foreign film. Shoplifters was my favorite out of all of those. I understand why Roma won. Honestly, if Roma was in color, probably would not have won. But the black and white in that is so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like it definitely makes it. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I'm glad you had a fun time or a good time watching it. I'm glad you were as heartbroken as I was. And
God,
you would also take over dictatorships to save Yuri.
I would beat dicks. Anyway, so a huge. I haven't wanted kids in a long time. But this sparked. I've always wanted a girl, no matter what. Like, I just wanted a small baby child to love me.
Yeah.
And this like re-sparked that. I'm like, oh, dude, do I kind of want a kid again?
Gave you baby fever?
It gave me a little baby fever. I'm not gonna lie, because Yuri's just so fucking adorable, and it just. I was gonna say I'll kidnap her. I'll be the dad. No, that's bad. I won't do that. I promise. I follow the law.
Yeah.
This fictional character, by the way. Oh my god.
I'm glad that I have a kid.
Baby boy.
But yeah, baby boy. Probably won't ever have a baby girl, but we'll see.
Genes too strong.
My genes might be too strong.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
tight. Mm.
Oh.
Anyway,
Got anything else to say?
I think I got everything.
All right, so that does it for the review of Shoplifters. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether or not it goes in the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. This was my pick, kind of, sort of. It was on my list, and then Glenn picked it. So I get to go first. I think it is very clear that this is an absolutely yes for me. It's just
surprise.
It's a heartwarming movie until it becomes heartbreaking. It does both things with your hearts. It clogs your arteries, makes your arm go numb, and
smell burnt toast.
it's as delicious as a triple cheeseburger.
Oh, you're making me hungry now.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I think absolutely it goes on. Just for Yuri running alone, which is the most adorable thing I've seen in a movie in a long time, I would put this on. So,
and then she just yells, "I can't keep running!" And then she just keeps running, doesn't even stop, doesn't even slow down.
Yes,
she's like, I can't keep running.
Yeah, it's like the Terminator.
Seriously.
So yes, it goes on the shelf for me.
I would say, absolutely, heartbreaking, but such a good time to be a part of the family for the moments you got to be there.
Yes,
This absolutely goes on.
yes. So, Shoplifters, by unanimous decision, which is, of course, the rules, goes under the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our next week's assignment. Glenn,
Yeah,
it's your turn to pick. What are we watching?
it is my turn.
Yes.
I'm going to go with a little movie called The Vanishing. And I know what you're thinking, Glenn. The 2018 The Vanishing with Gerard Butler? No.
Oh,
No.
I was going to say, I've seen that.
Glenn, are you talking about The Vanishing from 1993 with Jeff Bridges and Sandra Bullock? And Kiefer Sutherland? No. Absolutely not. We're going to go with the 1988 The Vanishing.
Oh.
That's right. And that is going to be on Criterion Channel.
Je m'appelle Raymond Lemorne. Je suis sociopathe et claustrophobe. Je n'ai jamais trompé ma femme. Bien vite, tire-bouchon, s'il te plaît, dans le tiroir. Mais je m'empresse de vous dire que pour moi, le pire, ce n'est pas tuer. Parce que mine de rien, c'est devenu une passion. Tu as quelque chose dans la tête.
Vous êtes un menteur.
Menteur?
Non, je ne vais... Non. Oui? Et je veux...
Vous avez violé Saskia. Si elle est morte, je vais mourir moi aussi. Et si l'homme qui voulait savoir, c'était vous?
Ooh, we haven't watched one of those in a while.
I know. I saw
Speaking
it,
of which,
like,
everyone watched Godland on there. It's fantastic.
You didn't say it last week, so there you go.
I saw it in a place that must not be named because I promised I'd stop talking about it, and it's the best movie of the year, hands down. Shut the fuck up, everyone else. It's the best movie of the year.
So yes, I saw this was on Criterion Channel. I just kind of had to go for it. This was on my list of movies that I kind of wanted to watch and talk about.
Bunch of spiders in the trailer.
Oh my god! And I wanted to watch it on the podcast. So this was actually a TikTok recommendation. There was like a person that I followed that had a playlist of like movies you must watch that aren't like the movies that most people say you must watch. So this was on there, and the plot that he told me about intrigued me a lot. And I'm gonna go ahead and read that bad boy. Rex and Saskia. What a fucking name. A young couple in love are on vacation. They stop at a busy service station and Saskia is abducted. After 3 years and no sign of Saskia, Rex begins to receiving letters from the abductor. Directed by George Sluizer. I don't know why I added the ER at the end. Like a fucking Pooh Bear.
Yes, Pooh Bear.
Written by Tim Crabe, George Sluizer, as I said, as the director. Stars Bernard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to sweat, and I could see myself red on the camera, and it is toasty as a bitch. Bernard Pierre Dunandierbourg. I don't know how you say that last name. Jean Bervoit. Is this a French film? I think it was French.
Judging by the names, yes.
So right off the bat, I'm not getting your names right. I'm not even going to apologize, but I'm sorry. And Johanna Terseg. There you go.
Terseg.
I'm not going further than that because I'm probably going to
Gwen Eckhouse. Eckhouse is the easiest one. Gwen Eckhouse. Bernadette Lasoche.
Oh, there's my name.
Oh, Lucille Glenn. Yeah, 2 N's. Yeah.
So yeah, I heard the plot was cool. Saw the plot was cool. I wanted to go for it. So we're going to go for it. There's going to be on Criterion Channel. Again, a little reminder, a little succulent kiss on your forehead. Just a gentle little good night to you.
Now,
so there we go.
This guy's goatee makes him look very American.
Yeah.
But he's not. Like, he doesn't have, like, a normal goatee. He has, like, the
He's got
goatee. The chin. It's not a goatee.
Amish.
It's the goat or whatever you want to call that you would see at NASCAR or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
just the chin patch there.
I thought this was American until I saw his name, Bernard Pierre Donadieu.
He did much better than me. That's for sure.
So you said that's on Criterion.
Criterion.
Right? Or The Vanishing on Criterion is our assignment for next week. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review. Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glen, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when I make Glenn disappear.
Ooh.
And then reappear 3 years later by using mischievous techniques.
I feel like I'm in The Prestige.
Yes, perhaps.
Wow.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.